October 16th. I slept awfully well last night. I woke aching and made the rounds. How about an Afghan? The thing in the circle asked, having assumed that lovely aristocratic form. Sorry. Too tired today, I responded. It cursed. I departed. The slitherers were all clustered, bluely at one point, and I couldn't figure out why. One of life's small mysteries. Outside, I found a dead bat, nailed to the tree by a crossbow bolt. It wasn't Needle, just some civilian. Something would have to be done. I made my way back to the body, which had a few more parts missing and didn't smell too good, and dragged it to the next place of concealment. But my heart just wasn't in it. I could go no further. I turned and walked home. Jaws sore, neck aching, paws tender. I want to die. I want to die, came a small voice from almost underfoot. Quicklime? What's the matter? The master was sick right here, he said. I took advantage and got out. I want to die. Come on, keep lying in the road and some cart will come along and give you your wish. Better get over to the side. Here, I'll help. I carried the ailing reptile into the brush. What should I do, Snuff? He asked. Lie in the sun. Sweat it out, I told him. Drink lots of liquids. I don't know if it's worth it. You'll feel better later. Trust me. I left him moaning atop a rock. I went on home, entered and dragged myself through the rounds. The master was not in, so I went in and slept in the parlor. Woke, ate, and dozed again. Later, I heard Jack's footsteps approaching the front door. He was accompanied, I knew by the footfalls, by Larry Talbot. They halted outside, continuing a discussion that must have been ongoing as they walked. It seemed they had just come from Constable Terrence's offices, where they'd been invited in the company of neighbors and other neighbors for questioning by city police concerning the missing officer I'd been dragging through the fields. I gathered that another neighborhood group had followed them in and continued the investigation. So far as I felt just then, they could have what's left of the man. And Vicar Roberts sitting there, glancing at everyone, just as we'd all done it, Larry was saying. What right has the man at any official investigation? He's more than a little dotty. Fortunately, Jack responded, otherwise someone might pay more heed to his notion. True, Larry said. If anyone had to be done in, he'd seem the best choice. Then they would have given some credence to his vision. Of course, there followed a sigh. I'm just venting a little spleen at those who make things difficult. Those who make difficult things more difficult, he sighed again. I hadn't noticed he hadn't had his crossbow with him that time. Now that would have drawn a few eyebrows, huh? They both chuckled. Larry, Jack said suddenly, I confess, I really don't understand your part in this. That you're knowledgeable, it's obvious. That you know what you're doing, yeah, I'm certain. And that you've been helpful, I can't deny. And I'm grateful for it. But you haven't apparently been collecting the items necessary to assemble a structure of power to be focused in one way or another. Look, I admit that when you came out that first day and as much proclaimed yourself a closer, I thought that was a bit gauche. But even that, I suspect now, has a method to it. Still, so far as I can tell, you've done nothing that would further that end, let alone assemble defenses against the days ahead. If this be true, you're inviting disaster by announcing your affiliation and continuing to reside in the precincts of the game. You're the only one I've told, Jack, Larry replied. Why? I've met the others, of course. There's something about you, perhaps it had to do with that dog, that assured me I was safe in revealing my persuasion. I've told you, anticipation is my forte. But you're rolling things. What is it? I never tell everyone everything. It might influence their actions and affect those things I've anticipated. Then, I'd have to start all over again. It might be too late. All right, you've lost me, but I can feel some rationale behind your words. You tell me what you would then, when you would. Assuredly. I heard their palms strike together as they clasped hands, and then Larry's retreating footsteps. Later, I went back to drag things along a little further. I had come to a place where the ground was mushy, and it was awful. He kept catching on branches and getting knotted up in fallen branches and stuck between hillocks, and he may have lost a few more pieces in that area. I was just too tired to look. Finally, I just gave up and went home. It was near noon, and the chances are we'd be going again that night, it being the eve and all. I needed my rest. On the way back, I looked for Quicklime on his stone, but he was nowhere in sight. There was a very twisty trail leading away, though. Greymouth was waiting on the tree's most popular branch on my return. I noticed that the pierced bat was missing, although the quarrel was still in place. Snuff, she asked, climbing down. Have you done it yet? Don't ask me. It's proving to be a major undertaking. I'm sorry, but I was at the constable's this morning with the mistress, and I heard all the talk. What did they say? They knew he came here. They knew he didn't come back. They knew he wouldn't leave a horse pie unturned till they found him or know what happened to him. Things like that. Nothing new. How did the questioning go? Fine with us. The mistress did her crazy act and talked to him about being carried off by fairies for a changeling. They had to ask her to be still. Rastoff suddenly understood a lot less English than he used to. Morris and McCabe were very polite and said they knew nothing. Jack was quite urbane and seemed very sympathetic. Biddle had nothing to add. The good doctor was indignant that the quiet hamlet he'd sought to do his research suddenly was violated by things he wanted to get away from. Larry Talbot said he'd never seen the man. Owen said they'd talked, but he'd never seen him again after that. He didn't know where he'd gone after he'd left him. He may have been the last to see him, though, according to a rough schedule the officer had mentioned to the constable. What about the vicar? He said that someone was lying to cover the devil's work, and he'd find out who. I rolled on a dry patch of grass and removed a thorn with my teeth. So how far along are you? Perhaps 2/3 of the way. I've come to a bad area. They're likely to search around here first and work their way outwards. You might have some time. That's a comfort. You going out tonight? Probably. Tomorrow it dies. No hard feelings. However things go. No. I found a big patch of catnip on my way to the river. If we both get through this, I'll buy you a drink. Thanks. She stretched. I stretched and yawned. We nodded to each other. And then we went our ways.